Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm basically not going to talk about grants, but I'm going to talk about the initiatives that NAC has for residencies. So the four that I'm going to talk about and sort of take you through are the ones that we're offering this year. The DINA Foundation Artist Residency, which is in Paris. The DINA Foundation Curatorial Residency, also in Paris. The Queensland House Bethanian Residency in Berlin. And the FRAK Art Critics Residency in Metz, which, if you're not familiar, is 2 hours outside of Paris. Okay, so the DINA Foundation Artist Residency is basically a 3-month residency for an emerging or mid-career artist. The point of this residency is for someone to go out there, make a new work with the DINA Foundation for Contemporary Art, network, develop through interactions with the Parisian art scene, as well as through the guidance of the DINA Foundation's residency artistic director. So the residency will include participations in studio visits and other activities organized by DINA Foundation. This may not sound like a lot on paper, but the last round for the residencies, the Singapore residents got to meet artists like Ryan Gander, who participated in Documenta, as well as art critics. I think they had Nicolas Bourrouat, who was the father or the critic that came up with relational aesthetics. So we're talking about sort of exposure to some of the top thinkers in the European scene. Okay, the residency is also an opportunity to showcase your work in France. Part of the residency is you produce a work, and then the DINA Foundation presents it as part of their programs. So what that means is you have an exhibition in France that's funded as part of the residency. Development of a new body of work is what I said, you develop a new body of work. And as part of the residency, we also provide for French language classes before you go on residency to help you sort of network, socialize, and actually get into the French art scene a little easier. So the structure of the program, like I said, is 3 months. You produce a work, you show a work, and in this whole span of time, you're also networking and sort of investing yourself into the scene there. In order to do this, what NAC does is NAC provides a grant for the selected artists, accommodation, participation, production costs, and per diem. This is all paid to the DINA Foundation, which then pays the artists. Then we also provide a budget up to Euro 5,000 in exhibition costs for them to host and organize the exhibition for you. And then we also provide a grant of up to 2,000 euro to cover travel costs. So this is your round trip travel costs. Then on top of that, when you return, we provide a $5,000 grant for you to show the work in Singapore. So this is a comprehensive funding for a residency. From before you go out, we prepare you with French language classes, to when you come back, we want you to be able to show the work that you have created in France and also share what you've created in France with the local audience. I can take questions later, last year we had two successful residents, and this year we'll also be selecting up to 2 successful residents. The application is now open. The closing date for applications is 21st May 2013. So you have about we're in April, about 2 months. Applicants will be shortlisted based on their submitted application material. So what we'll need is a portfolio, professional reference letters, an artist statement basically saying why do you want to go out there, what you're going to get out of this experience, and also your CV, just so we know what you've done and maybe the prospects of what you're about to do. Okay, so on top of the artist residency, so there are 2 residents that go up to the DINA Foundation. On top of that, we also send up 1 curator to go up with the 2 artists. Now, the curator's residency is a 4-month-long residency program. It's a little different from the artists because the artists go there to create a work, to create a body of work, but the curator goes there to work. The curatorial residency is made up of basically a work placement. And there's a work placement in an established French institution. It could be something like the Centre Pompidou or Maison Rouge. This is basically decided after the successful curatorial resident is selected, because you're basically placed by the DINA Foundation with an organization that would work for you or work with your interests. Okay, so a 4-month work placement, and on top of that, what the curatorial resident will do is develop an exhibition of the artist in residence from the DINA Foundation Artist Residency. So the 2 Singaporeans that go up and the DINA presents them in an exhibition, the curator, the curatorial resident will be contributing to that show, either as a co-curator, contributing text, but it's basically a collaborative effort with the DINA Foundation. And obviously, if the artists get an exhibition when they come back, the curator does too. So part of the residency is that when you come back with the artist residents, you're supposed to work with them to develop their Singapore presentation. And of course, we also provide French classes. The funding for this program is similar in that accommodation, production budget, whatever that the curator needs to produce a show there is covered through the DINA Foundation. And this includes $5,000 in exhibition costs, whatever it may be, if you're producing catalogs or so forth. A grant to travel there of up to €2,000, and then an additional grant of $5,000 to contribute to a post-residency exhibition in Singapore. So the idea is this: if the curator and the 2 artists come home to Singapore, they have collectively among themselves $15,000 to realize an exhibition in Singapore. They can choose to do individual exhibitions or whatever they want, but if they want to work together, they have $15,000. With the DINA Foundation Curatorial Residency, we ask for a little bit more because we're looking at different sorts of skills. With the Curatorial Residency, we ask for, in addition to an application form, a current CV, we also ask for 1 to 2 writing samples. So this can be as informal as a blog or as formal as an essay, an academic essay. We also ask for 2 professional reference letters, statement of intent of what the curator hopes to achieve, and a curatorial proposal. So this is basically for us to find out what your curatorial practice is and what your process would be. Selection criteria is strong art writing and analytical skills, a good understanding of the visual arts. Obviously, if you're going to go work for an established French institution, you need to have a good foundation. Past participation in visual arts events of good standing. So this could be internships, this could be your own self-initiated curatorial projects. And also, our selection will be based on your perceived potential to benefit from the program. All right, so this is a little more fun than all the blabbing I did. These are photos from the last of the residency space. So the one on the left is actually the residency, like common residency spaces at the Recollects. The picture on the top at the right is actually the site of the residency itself, the building that the DINA Foundation rents. The Recollects is actually run by the equivalent of the Parisian Arts Council, and they rent out different spaces to different residencies, and the DINA rents a series of spaces inside there. So it's actually a very cosmopolitan sort of space, because there are scientists there, there are writers, because there's a host of different types of residencies there that the Parisian Council sort of loans out their space to. The picture on the bottom is Hafiz Osman, Debbie Ding, and an Italian artist, and Valentine Mayer, who's the artistic director of the program. Those were our residents last year, and that was them in their exhibition. Okay, so like I said, applications are open till May 21st, 2013 at 5 p.m. Applications are found online, so you go to our website, you go and you look under our grants and schemes, and you should be able to find the DINA Foundation Curator Residency Program. You also can find there's a link also to the Artist Residency. So if you scroll down, you can click on the hyperlink and it will load the application form onto your desktop. Fill it up and send it to me, Kathleen Ditzig at nac.gov.sg. So I'll be accepting them up to May 21st at 5 p.m. So the residencies that I just spoke to you about for the DINA Foundation were for emerging to mid-career artists and for emerging curators. The Queensland House Bethanian Residency is another program that the NAC offers. It's a 12-month residency program for established visual artists. We provide a grant of up to $50,000, which goes towards living, studio, material costs, and an exhibition. This is actually the exhibition then is presented at the Queensland House Bethanian proper, because they have exhibition space in addition to studio space. It's one of the most established European residencies based in Berlin. Past participants have been sort of Heeman Chong, Ming Wong. If you've recognized these 2 names, they've actually represented Singapore in the Singapore Pavilion in the past. Chua Chai Tek, Ang Song Ming, and the list sort of goes on. If you have any particular questions, you can always ask me about this. This is largely for established artists. So if you've had shows in museums or you've traveled, this is the travel internationally. This is sort of the residency program that you would want to take. This wouldn't be for young artists. So applications also online for that. The last one that I want to talk about today is the FRAK. So this is sort of a residency that's available. NAC itself does not facilitate the collection of applications and so forth. The FRAK is short for the French Regional Art Collections, which is a series of museums and spaces all over France. The Art Critics Residency is part of FRAK Metz, which is in the city of Metz. The great thing about the Art Critics Residency is it's kind of loose. You write into this woman, Cheryl, literally. You make a proposal. You can say that you want to spend 3 to 6 months, but the idea is that in your proposal, you actually should have already an idea of a writing project that you want to do that grows from their collection. Now, this is where it gets interesting. In case you want any information, just take down that address, collection.fraklorraine.org, because that's where you would go to apply, to download the application form, and that's also where you would go to see who the past residents have been. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting, is where I get to actually talk about the space, because it sounds very abstract, an art critics residency. So the FRAK Lorraine or the FRAK Metz is really interesting because their collection is about transient art. So how do you write about transient art? What do we mean by transient art? If you see the picture over there with the blocks of red on the shelves, that's basically their collection. Their collection are instructions which cannot really be completed without the artist there. So a lot of times they have work like, the work on the bottom is actually, it looks like a really ugly garden. But actually, it's an artist's work because an artist comes in every summer and replants it according to a specific theme. Another one is actually, you can't see it from anywhere but from their tower, which says, how can you sleep at night? It's actually the text of the words at the bottom, which actually faces towards Germany, which is a commentary, of course, on World War II, etc., the Holocaust. So this is sort of the works that you would be around and the works that they expect you to engage with and write and create writing projects. The spaces above, to the left, on the upper side, on the left-hand side is actually the studio space that's provided to the art writers that's selected, so you get to live there and work there. On the right side is the library and resource room that they have. In addition, of course, to the space proper, which is I think a 13th or 14th century fort. So it's a very large space for someone to work with. So how is NAC connected to this residency? Basically, NAC values art writing, and we think that art writing is important to develop in Singapore. So we feel that, given that the FRAK has this program, the FRAK and NAC have sort of an unofficial sort of agreement. We're not partners, in the sense that if any Singaporean gets accepted into the program, we will cover the airfare to the program, whereas they'll cover the rest of the costs. So this is something that you guys should know about because it's not formal and we would not advertise it. However, this is it's a good art writing program if you want to explore. Okay, I think that about covers the residency options that we have. This is for the local residencies that NAC supports. It's just for your information. So beyond creating initiatives, we also support programs that are started up by artists. So these are some of them. We are artists or organizations. So we have the Artist Village Pulau Ubin Residency. We have Objectifs International Artist Residency. Our incubator, Brisbane Singapore Exchange, which is actually run by a gallery, and Grey Projects, which is also an independently run space. So if you are interested in learning more about residencies, the residencies that we do fund, local opportunities, or residency initiatives that we've created, so international opportunities out there that are funded by the NAC, you can just contact me. I'm the first one, Kathleen Ditzig up there, and the second, or Ms. Ning Chong, who is my colleague also with the visual arts. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.